Okay, so I was going to ask you if you remember or if you know about leg yielding. I can't remember if we've done that before. Exactly. Okay, so whichever leg you're going to push with, she should go away from it, right? So you're going to keep going forward and you're going to push her away from one leg, so you end up going forward and sideways. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to start with that. But we're just going to come through this gap close to this white barrel, and then you're just going to leg yield over until you can go straight over the brown pole. Okay? And then on the other side, you're going to turn early and then leg yield over to the wall. Okay? So here it's very specific. You have to turn so you can come right through this gap, and then you're going to the pole. On the other side, you need to kind of make a mark for yourself to turn at. Okay? We're going to do that in the trot. Okay, Neo, so pick up your trot on a big circle, and then you're going to come right through this gap. I moved the barrel so you have a little more room. Yes, Avon? Okay, now start to get ready for your next turn. So I would just maybe circle there, Neo, because it's a little busy where you need to go. Up. All right, we're going to start from the beginning. Keep going. We'll just start from this end because we kind of missed the other side, right? Be one stride of canter in between your two jumps. And then you're going to quietly sit back up into your sitting position and halt. So what I don't want to see is that you halt leaning back and pulling, right? It might get the job done, but it's not smooth and it's not the nicest way for your horse. So we want to be effective, just with good position, good balance. So you're going to land off your second jump, find your sitting position, and ask her to halt, keeping your body straight, keeping both legs on, keeping both hands up. I'm getting a bit of a low battery signal here, Shane. Okay. Do you want to change that now? Sure. Okay, Neo, so go ahead and get your trot. Remember, it needs to be a working trot right away that you could go jump a jump. If I put a jump there, you should be able to pop right over it. Come on, don't let her slow down. You're the pilot. Looking, lining up straight. Okay, that's okay. Now here's a question for you. When you lose your stirrup, is it going to help you to do this? No. It's not very realistic to look down to get our stirrups back, right? Because let's say you're jumping around a course of jumps and you lose your stirrup, you can't, if you're jumping that jump and then that jump, you can't look down and get your foot sorted out. You've got no time. You've got to plan ahead for your next jump. So what we want to train you to do, Neo, is to look where you're going and find your stirrup with your foot. Okay? And then as well, when you're doing that, you'll still be able to do the other thing you needed to do, which in that case was the halt, right? And because you looked down, she got really wiggly on you. So we had a bit of a speed control issue that time. She was pooping along the wall and she got slow, and I was like, don't let her get slow, gotta go. Then when I clucked, which I need to learn not to do, I know, but then I was like, come on, get going. And when I clucked, she sped up, right? So remember, your job is to try to keep her where you want her, right? We want her in the middle ground. We don't want her fast, we don't want her slow. You've got to try to keep her in the middle. So just as much as you needed to get her to go forward when she was slowing down, you also needed to slow her down here when she was speeding up on the way to the jump. And that's actually why she knocked the jump down, was because she was speeding up. So she lost track of her rhythm and where to leave the ground. Okay, so let's come again and see if we can get a more regular trot from the beginning to the end and then straight into the halt. Okay, so how come you're all the way down there? So just start from the beginning. Remember, your turn is supposed to be right where I am now, right? We're not using this half of the ring down here. Make sure your hands are staying up, your elbows are staying bent. So when she starts to lose her rhythm, you need to remind her what that rhythm is, right? With your posting, and if she's speeding up, with the little half halts on the reins. Look. And just look back at your jump there, Neo. So you can see she went a little off to the right. Okay, not bad. Now, did you feel we had a way better approach? We had a better trot. Did you feel what happened between your two jumps? What I'm after here is that you put the brakes on in there. So instead of her being able to do one regular stride of canter because your brakes were on, you were pulling back, she kind of half trotted, half cantered, was a little awkward with when she left the ground. So right from this moment, Neo, when she steps over this pole and you go to 2-point, you're just in 2-point the whole way, okay? Your hands need to be in front of you. It's not until you land that I want to see you stretch up and take a feel of the reins again. Okay? Okay, let's go ahead and try that again. So speed control, right? And then keep your 2-point with your hands forward over both jumps. Rhythm. Good, lots better, Neo. Look back at your jump, see if you're straight this time. Yank her head up, yank her head up. So are you to the right or the left this time? Which side? Just show me which hand. Which side did she go to? Yeah, to the left. Okay. Yeah, I agree. Okay, so that was a lot better. You barely pulled back at all in the middle. I think you pulled a tiny bit to try to steer, right? Because she was veering off to the outside of the jump. So I know I'm asking you a lot of questions today. This comes back to this idea that I want to be training you guys to be better riders, even if I wasn't here, right? That I'm giving you the skills to learn this stuff. So in here, Neo, if you needed to pull on this rein, which leg did you need more of? On the same side or the opposite side? Opposite, right? So if you're feeling like you need to pull her to the left, I want you to push more with your right leg, okay, to help keep her straight. Good. Hopefully I'm not giving your brain a cramp with all these questions. Okay, it's good. And personally, I had a lot of trouble learning my rights and lefts, and I had a very hard time with that. Right up until I was a coach, basically, and I always had my coach tell me or talk to me about inside and outside because I understood that, but I would get confused about right and left. Now that I teach and I see it all the time, I'm pretty darn good with my rights and lefts, but you don't, we're going to train you all these life skills, and the left and the right is important, but even if you're not sure, if I say left or right and you're not sure, just be like, okay, this one, or, she was going to the inside the last time when you halted, right? Because we're coming off this way, so this is the inside, this is the outside. Okay, one more change I want you to make. You're doing a good job now not getting too far down, but this is becoming a bit of a barrel, like you're barrel racing. Okay, so I would say it's like you're taking a shortcut from where you are now. You're getting as close to this cone as possible. I want you to be closer to those cones. Use this space you have so that you're coming through this cone with lots of room. Does that make sense? So instead of the shortcut, you're going to take the full route, okay? The normal route here. Okay, let's do that again. Remember, between your jumps, you're steering with your legs and keeping your hands in front of you. Good correction with your stirrup. Good, I like this trot. Make sure she's keeping that rhythm. You are keeping that rhythm. Okay, stop for a minute. Good trot, Neo. Look ahead, plan your route. Look where you want to go. Perfect. Rhythm, leg. Much straighter. Yank her head up. Rude. Next time she does that, try to be quicker about it and give her a little sharp kick in the belly, okay? We're going to come again here. That was very, very good. Good job, Neo. That was very good. Now we need just a little more leg squeezing her belly and a little more hands forward so that she does this one stride more naturally. She's still slowing down a little bit in between her jumps. Okay, ready? Can you get ready quickly? Shorten your reins, get your trot, and right to your jump. Use the full route, no shortcut. Look, plan out your turn, look, straight, rhythm, leg, there we go, good job. Really good job. Okay, give her a big pat. Yeah, we would pat you, Blaze, if you weren't yanking the reins out of our hands. Good, and let her walk with a long rein so she does get a break. So what she's doing there when she rips the reins out away from you, that's called rooting. And rooting is when the horses feel like they just don't want us there anymore, they don't want the pressure there anymore, so they just take the reins away from us. It's a really terrible habit. And that's something where we're not going to be polite to her, like that's the extreme edge of rudeness. So you're going to, if she does that right away, you're going to demand that she stops it. It's like, absolutely not. Okay, get your reins back, give her a sharp little kick in the belly. Don't let her think that she can get away with that. Because for her, there's an instant reward when she takes the reins away from the rider, and we just want to take that reward right away. Take it right back. Don't let her have it. Okay, Neil, we're going to give her a minute to walk and relax. I'm going to flip this exercise around so we can do it off the right with still a nice approach. It's quite tight coming off the other side, so that's a bit of a more advanced exercise. Okay, Nia, I want you to listen really carefully to the exercise. Okay? because I want you to be able to execute it exactly how I say. Okay, in a perfect world. So you're going to come off the right rein. You're going to trot in, much straighter than I am. Okay, so you're coming around up to your jumps off the right rein now. And then this is the same, right? It's trot pull. We've only got one trot pull now. 2-point position, jump, stay in 2-point, one stride of canter, jump out. Then after your last jump, you're gonna land, sit up into your 3-point, and then you're gonna quietly halt between the cones. Okay? So coming off the right, straight up the line, and getting your halt between these two cones. And then of course, we're gonna turn to the right and do it all over again. Okay? So make sure you like your trot. You've got the right trot right from the beginning. Legs, legs, legs. Halt. Now turn to the, yank! Quick! Turn to the right. You need to be a little quicker about that. So what you can do is grab the buckle and, right, pull the reins through your hands and then pull back. Okay, have we practiced that before? Okay, just stop for a sec. So this is the quickest way to get your reins back. I'm gonna ride you soon and we're gonna have a talk. Rude. Okay, so I'm gonna be the rider for a sec. So I've lost my reins. I'm gonna grab here. Okay, so I've already got one hand on the buckle. I'm gonna grab here and slide my hand down the rein, and then you could pull back right away. Okay? And then of course the next thing you do is to split your reins and get your two hands back. So again, if you lose your reins, grab the buckle, slide your hand down, and then you can stop or do whatever else you need to do. Okay? Okay, ready? Best trot. Nice energy. Look for your turn. Now try to keep your hands forward over the jumps. Good, better. Turn right. Good for you. And give her long reins. Nothing is different, Blaze. Good, give her a little pat. Awesome. Okay, good. Well done. I really liked there, you were a little bit more determined about finishing your halt. Okay, so it was quite similar to the last halt, except last time you kind of went like, oh, it's not working. And this time you're like, hey, there's an end to this, right? And just how we think about that is really important, right? You need to sort of have the right mental message, the right message in your mind between you and her about getting the job done, being effective, right? It's not that you're going to tell her that you're going to halt and then she can talk you out of it. No, no, no. If you say halt, she's got to halt. She can do it when you ask, she can do it when you've told her, or she can do it when you demand it of her. And it's kind of up to her, right? As long as you follow those steps. Okay. So your execution of the exercise coming in and the halt are both pretty good. Okay, I can live with all of that. Over your jumps, Neo, especially over this jump, you're just starting to pull back a little bit when she's jumping. And I think here it's because you're thinking that you've got a halt, right? So you're just getting yourself a little bit ahead of where you are. You still need to have your hands forward while she jumps. Okay, that's called the release. Right? The horses, when they jump, they stretch their necks. So we need to be able to give them the reins so they can stretch their neck over the jump. So you need to release over your jump and then sit up and plan your halt. So even if it takes you a quarter of a second longer to do this, it's going to be better because you won't have caused a problem over the jump. Right? Because of course if you pull back when she's trying to stretch her neck, then she's like, and that's not going to be very good for her jumping style. Okay. So the big change you're making this time is you're thinking about your release, right? As soon as she steps over the pole, your hands are going forward, your hips are bending. Can you show me where I want your hands to be when she's jumping? Okay, just show me one more time in your 2-point. Okay, good. So almost, but far too high. Okay? So when she's jumping, we need the hands to be lower, right? If you were halting, your hands would be there. But when we're in 2-point, the hands, as our hips get lower and more bent, our hands are getting lower as well. Okay? So when you're over your jump, I want to see your hands here beside her neck. Okay, beside the crest. Do you know what the crest is? The crest is the fatty part. Do you feel her neck? Right? That's not muscle, that's fat. And that's called the crest. Okay? So this is called a crest release, is when you put your hands beside her crest. And your knuckles here kind of push into her neck, push into the fat. Okay? Make sure that Neo rewatches this video, okay? Because I've gone over so many concepts.
Yep.
And I'm probably completely overwhelming him, but I also don't want to let these things slide by, right? So it'll be really good for you, Neo, to go back over this and think about what we've talked about. Looking up, good, hands down by her neck, way better, and she's so much happier when you release like that. Good. Now this time, you're going to turn to the left, to the other way, turn left, there you go. Good, and give her a pat. So how come I wanted her to turn left? Any ideas? Every other time we've turned this way, and now suddenly I'm telling you to turn that way. Exactly. And not only so she doesn't get a habit to go this way, but she was starting to already, right? So what I noticed into your halt, and maybe you're thinking about the other horse there as well, but into your halt she started to take you to the right. So then instead of going to the right and confirming to her that that was the correct idea, instead we're going to say, actually you were wrong assuming that we were going to the right. We're actually going this way. Right? And that's the thing with you being the pilot, is you are allowed to change your mind. Right? You can say, we are going to turn right. No, I think we're going to turn left. Okay? All right, little walk break for her. I loved your release through here, so I'm going to add one more jump, and we're going to do that again. Perfect. Yeah. They say it takes 1,000 reminders to break a habit.
Right.
So that's something like with your hands going low, right? If you can remind yourself to keep your hands up when you're doing your walk, trot, canter transitions and in those gaits and when you're using your brakes, the more you can remind yourself, oh, I've got to carry my hands up, then the quicker that becomes the new habit, right? Because you're trying to replace a habit that doesn't work very well with one that works better than that. No, it was really good to see, and it was really interesting, Shane, for me to see that when I thought I was, sitting on my saddle over the jump, actually I was just right. And because I tend to get too straight in my legs, too up in my body.
I think Ren has the same problem over the bigger jumps. Well, before on the old video where he was jumping on his own out front there before we found out that he wasn't allowed to jump by himself.
Yeah.
He was really, Blaze was jumping long and flat.
Yeah.
So I think that could have contributed to it, but.
Yeah. Okay, we're still gonna halt. We're not gonna jump that big jump down there, okay? So I don't expect you to halt between the cones anymore, but I do expect you to halt well before the jump. Okay, so you're gonna land, stretch up, trot, walk, halt, be firm, use your tummy muscles, keep your heels down. This is just one more stride of canter in here. So you're keeping your 2-point the whole way, you're keeping your hands in a crest release, low beside her neck. Okay, 1, 2, 3, jump, stretch up, trot, walk, halt. Okay? Nice. Sit up. Stay straight. Stay straight. Oh. Whoops. Okay, now I could actually see your hands pretty well from where I was, and they looked really good. So now, like, I'm going to stand right where you need to halt. Of course, don't crash into me, but I wouldn't let her anyways. I'd go, whoa, and then she'd spook at me, okay? But you're going to halt, face your nose facing my nose. Okay, her nose facing my nose, okay? Okay, good, coming good. What do you think? Yeah, good for you. Awesome. Okay, and then you can just go, you can do a little diagonal, you can get right back onto the right rein. It's just about which way you turn out of the halt. Perfect. Sit up, tighten your tummy muscles. Hey, 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 hey. One step closer and I would have bopped her on the nose. Okay, now that was extremely wiggly, sir. Hey, don't pull. Okay, come again. So what happened is you went too far out, right? And then you were working the whole way through all those jumps trying to get straight again. That's a lot harder than starting out straight. Okay, so as you get your trot here, as you're heading down the wall, you need to look for that first jump and make sure you line up early enough. Good job. Straight. Beautiful. Sit up and beautiful. Okay. Give her a pat, walk forward, and give her the reins slowly. Just take them back. Yeah, take the reins back. And just stand quiet for a second. Good. You can split them again so you have your two hands. Good. And now walk. Nope. Hang on to them. Now choose a direction to walk to. Doesn't matter because you were straight, whichever way you want. And then slowly give her the reins. And if she yanks them away, you're going to yank them right back. It's too bad we need to work on this at the end because she was awesome down the line and awesome into the halt, and I'd like to reward her for that, but she's not allowed to root. Okay, good. Now you can keep her on a long rein. And there's a difference too, and I know sometimes it's a bit of a gray area, but there's a difference when you're starting to give her the rein and then she stretches and takes it. That's okay, right? But when you've got your reins organized and she pulls them, that's not allowed. And if you're starting to lengthen them and she pulls them hard, that's not allowed, right? She can kind of ask and say, oh yeah, can I go? Okay, yeah. She can do that, but she's not allowed to rip them away from you. Good job, Neo. So I know I talked way too much today. We covered a lot of ground. I would love it if you can watch the video a few times, okay? And make sure, and even if there's something I say where you're like, I have no idea what she's talking about, okay, then you can ask me next time you're here, right? Or write it down and ask me, because I want to make sure that I'm making sense for you, okay? Good. work, you rotten animal. Good, the last one was awesome. And we got the halt way earlier too.